When the trumpet cuts through the air, it's like a flare in the night sky, impossible to ignore. In the 1950s, this horn was more than a brass instrument. It was a call to attention, a carrier of joy, sorrow, rhythm, and fire. Some players reinvented jazz with it, others filled dance halls, and a few even turned it into a pop sensation. The trumpet had as many personalities as the men who held it, and together, they gave the decade its brassy soul. Miles Davis was the master of understatement. While other trumpeters filled every bar with notes, Davis left space. He used silence like a painter uses blank canvas. His muted tone became iconic, cool and fragile, yet always filled with intent. In the early 50s, he shaped the cool jazz sound with Birth of the Cool. By mid-decade, Roundabout Midnight showed him as a confident band leader, and in 1959, with Kind of Blue, he changed jazz forever, ushering in modal improvisation. Davis's horn didn't scream, it whispered with authority. On the opposite end stood Dizzy Gillespie, bold and explosive. His bent trumpet bell and puffed cheeks were instantly recognizable. In the 1950s, Gillespie carried the bebop torch while blending it with Afro-Cuban rhythms, thanks to collaborations with Chano Pozo. Tunes like Manteca combined the dizzying speed of bebop with the pulse of congas and bongos. Gillespie was a showman, playful, funny, and larger than life, but his horn was always deadly serious. He proved the trumpet could be both dazzling entertainment and advanced artistry at the same time. Chet Baker brought a different kind of trumpet voice to the 1950s. Slim, handsome, and soft-spoken, he embodied the sound of West Coast cool jazz. His horn floated delicately, melodic, and understated, like a voice in conversation. Baker also sang, and hits like My Funny Valentine made him a star. Yet even when silent, his trumpet carried that same fragile charm. He showed the world that the trumpet could be tender and intimate, more sigh than shout. By the 1950s, Louis Armstrong was already a household name worldwide, yet his horn remained vital. His tone was still as bright and commanding as it had been in the 20s, and his solos could still lift a crowd to its feet. Armstrong's hits in this decade, from A Kiss to Build a Dream On to Mac the Knife, reminded everyone that his trumpet was still a force of joy and brilliance. He had nothing left to prove, but everything he played reaffirmed why he was beloved. Not every trumpet player of the 1950s was in the jazz world. Eddie Calvert, from Britain, made the trumpet a star of popular music. His smooth, polished sound earned him the nickname, the man with the golden trumpet. In 1954, his recording of O Mein Papa became a massive hit, topping charts across Europe. Calvert wasn't improvising bebop lines. He was delivering clean, melodic phrases that appealed to a wide audience. He gave the trumpet a voice on the radio, in living rooms, and in the world of popular entertainment. In America, Ray Anthony kept the swing flame alive. A veteran of Glenn Miller's band, he led his own orchestra through the 1950s, filling dance halls with brassy energy. His trumpet-led arrangements blended swing with popular music of the era, keeping the big band tradition visible even as rock and roll took over. Anthony was also a television and film presence, which boosted his popularity. While he wasn't pushing jazz boundaries, he made sure the trumpet remained central to American pop culture. No story of 1950s trumpet can be told without Clifford Brown. Though his career lasted barely 5 years, cut short by a fatal car crash in 1956, Brown's legacy was enormous. With Max Roach, he co-led one of the era's finest quintets. His playing was the perfect balance of technical brilliance and lyrical beauty. Albums like Study and Brown revealed a tone so pure it seemed to glow. Colleagues admired him not just for his talent, but also for his dedication and clean lifestyle. Brown showed what trumpet could be at its best, and his loss left a void in jazz that has never been filled. If Clifford Brown was beauty, Maynard Ferguson was raw power. Known for hitting stratospheric high notes with effortless strength, Ferguson became one of the trumpet's great showmen. In the 1950s, playing with Stan Kenton's orchestra, he thrilled audiences with his almost superhuman range. Later, he led his own bands, turning concerts into showcases for his blazing horn. He gave the trumpet a reputation for athleticism, inspiring awe with sheer stamina and projection. Harry James had been famous since the swing era, but in the 1950s, he remained a strong presence. His lush, virtuosic trumpet style kept audiences hooked on big band brass. James was both a technical master and a crowd pleaser. Even as bebop and cool jazz shifted the scene, he proved there was still a place for trumpet as pure entertainment, bridging the gap between jazz and mainstream audiences. By the late 1950s, a teenage Lee Morgan was already turning heads. He joined Dizzy Gillespie's big band and quickly established himself as a hard bop powerhouse. His sound was brassy, bold, and fearless. Though his best-known work would come in the 1960s, Morgan's late 1950s recordings already showed a trumpeter destined for greatness. He represented the new generation, pushing the horn into fiery, modern territory. Among the decade's trumpeters, Kenny Dorham often flew under the radar, but fellow musicians respected him deeply. His tone was clear and refined, his improvisations inventive, and his compositions memorable. Dorham played with Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, and Art Blakey, always bringing subtle strength to the music. Though never a household name, he was a musician's musician, a steady presence in one of jazz's most fertile decades. The trumpet of the 1950s had many faces. Miles Davis reshaped jazz by playing fewer notes with greater meaning. Dizzy Gillespie filled rooms with fire and Afro-Cuban rhythms. Chet Baker brought the horn into the world of cool intimacy. Louis Armstrong proved his brilliance hadn't dimmed. Eddie Calvert and Ray Anthony kept the horn alive in popular music, while Clifford Brown left behind a legacy of beauty. Maynard Ferguson astounded with range. Harry James carried swing's glamour. Lee Morgan emerged as the fiery new voice, and Kenny Dorham offered craftsmanship too refined to be ignored. Together, they showed the trumpet's versatility, from quiet whispers to ear-splitting screams, from intimate love songs to dazzling virtuosity. In the 1950s, the trumpet wasn't just part of the band, it was often the reason the band was heard at all.